After entering Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom in a $5,000 dress, a wealthy real estate magnate says something so insulting and arrogant that even veteran court officials halt. After the court verdict, the lesson is that money can't shelter you from accountability and that certain insults require complete punishment. We're almost at 600,000 subscribers, so click subscribe immediately before I tell you about Victoria Ashford's catastrophic mistake. This narrative of respect, consequences, and the judicial system preserving its integrity shows why courts are the only place where character trumps money. If this tale makes you think judges should always be respected, comment below. Watch this video to see why Judge Caprio's answer became renowned. When did individuals cease respecting others? Because of their values, not their wealth. No matter your wealth, you should never cross judicial consent. See what happened to Victoria Ashford. Before Tuesday's 9:30 a.m. session in Providence Municipal Court, the BAF swiftly tells Judge Caprio, "Your Honor, this defendant has been difficult with court staff, being rude and condescending. The defendant requested a new date due to a conference call. The judge agrees, understanding this case may require additional patience. Victoria Ashford, 52, was ticketed for running a red light in bad weather. The officer's notes state someone was almost hit. The defendant declined the license, saying her lawyer handles it. Victoria Ashford enters the courtroom like a stage where she directs and stars. Valentino suits fit well and make you appear good. Diamond earrings catch electric lights. Her wrist bag, costing more than most people's monthly pay, is an Air Hermes. Not a lot of luxury in the room. Her attitude, the way she groans as if this whole process is beneath her, is more essential than the processes. Her phone screen lights in her palm, and she doesn't glance at anybody. Many people appreciate Judge Caprio because he appears warm and welcoming. Good morning, Ms. Ashford. Please approach the bench. Vicky gently advances while tapping her phone. She doesn't respond when you meet her. Something seems odd in the courtroom, full with people waiting for their hearings. An elderly woman in the third row murmurs to her friend that she is scared. Judge Caprio does it again, with a stronger but sweet voice. I need your whole attention, so put your phone aside. Victoria eventually glances up, and her expression shows she's aiding him. Ms. Ashford, not Mrs. Sir. I didn't marry for names. Founded my empire. She sounds saddened when the judge corrects her because he hoped marriage would help her achieve. She gently slides the phone inside her purse, suggesting that she would do what he asked because she wants to. This time, Judge Caprio is calm. Your ticket is for running a red light on Benefit Street, Ms. Ashford. Make your argument how. Victoria moves and touches her hip. I'm managing a $12 million business deal. Please move this along quickly. I have crucial tasks. This term slaps. She just told the judge that his hearing is unimportant in public. People gasp and shake their heads immediately. A workman crosses his arms and looks serious. Judge Caprio is formal, but modifies his opinion. The public and the rule of law depend on these processes, Ms. Ashford. Victoria laughs, a red flag. Your Honor, how many jobs do I make? How much municipal tax does my firm generate? Over 300 individuals work with me. My innovations have improved whole communities. This quote is too low for me. She says it honestly without shame. In her view, success meant freedom. The courtroom shrinks and the air thickens. Everyone watches Judge Caprio meticulously study the paperwork as Victoria checks her watch. This regulation applies to everyone, Ms. Ashford. That doesn't alter whether your firm succeeds. She looks coldly into his eyes for the first time. In reality, everything costs something. I've paid several tickets. Please inform me the fine amount, and my helper will handle it. She made justice a transaction, the courtroom a payment window, and Judge Caprio a cashier. What she started is unknown. Judge Caprio gently sets the file down and advances slowly. Start with the specifics of this infringement, Ms. Ashford, before discussing fines. You were ticketed for running a red light on Benefit Street at Hope, 3:15 p.m. Does that make sense? Victoria rudely waves her hand. It's fine if the ticket states so. Not all crossroads I drive past are remembered. I care more about other things than traffic. Judge speaks calmly. When stopped over, you first refused to display your license, the officer reported. Victoria's wonderfully round eyebrows rise. I question why they stopped me. It's my constitutional right. Or does that not apply to world changers? Very small yet distinct punch. Several people move oddly in the room. A woman in business clothing gently shakes her head, making Victoria feel horrible. Caprio, the judge, seems calm. You have the right to inquire why you were pulled over, but Officer Ramirez claims you informed him. and I'm reading his report that you don't carry your license because your lawyer handles all traffic concerns and that he didn't need to spend his time on someone like you. Vic doesn't argue. She raises her chin. I may have stated that. I was late for a weeks-long meeting. The cop liked showing off his authority more than protecting people. The prosecution requests your presence. A young woman with papers. May I rise? Judge Caprio nods. Judge. The lawyer approaches and presents papers. Miss Ashford received 6 traffic fines in 3 years. Each paid her, but she never appeared in court for them. Additionally, this offense has hidden aggravating elements. Judge Caprio seems more serious as he reviews the paperwork. Miss Ashford, I have 2 speeding tickets, 3 red light fines, and 1 reckless driving penalty. That trend matters. Victoria raises her voice. A pattern of what? Attending meetings and living. Every ticket was paid for immediately. The system works that way, right? I'll pay and you'll distribute the tickets. The bargain is here. Miss Ashford, Judge Caprio's voice is stronger. It operates differently. You endanger others and yourself with each infraction. These are notifications you ignored, not transactions. Victoria laughs a short, harsh, warning chuckle. Sir, I've driven 35 years. Trust me to drive well. I've never crashed. We both know these tickets simply raise money. This time, the prosecution speaks. Regarding aggravating conditions, Your Honor, traffic camera footage shows Miss Ashford running a red signal in a school zone. A grade school block school day ends at 3:15 p.m. The old guy on foot had to hop back onto the curb to dodge Miss Ashford's automobile. Courtrooms become berserk and whisper. Judge Caprio requests quiet. Miss Ashford, you ran a red light leaving school. Victoria's jaw tightens. That school zone is absurd. It's only available twice a day for 30 minutes, slowing traffic. If the pedestrian was in the crossing when my signal was red, he was jaywalking. Why is he ticketless? The shouts are louder now. A mother with a child stares at Victoria bewildered. An older man whispers something. Judge Caprio seems serious. Miss Ashford, the man was at a crossroads. He was meant to go there. You nearly hit him at a red light. Do you realize what might have occurred was terrible? Vicky clasps her hands. It didn't achieve its potential. Fully in charge of my automobile. Lack of concern is the issue. They carry their phones in public, expecting others to ignore their carelessness. Why should someone else's negligence mess with me? Judge Caprio leans forward. Hit the red light, Miss Ashford. You erred. The pedestrian did nothing wrong. Rough voice from Victoria. Your Honor, I'll be straightforward. No sense in continuing. Your, and everyone's time. I have plenty to accomplish. I run a $40 million company. Every day I make decisions that affect hundreds of worker families. I earn more for this city than most others in this courtroom would in their lifetimes. Yes, I ran a red light. I'll pay fine. Please fix this so I can focus on more essential projects. After that, silence reigns. Even above the court reporter's keyboard, movement pauses. Victoria reminded the crowd that her job is more essential than their time, safety, and presence, but she's not done. She looks directly at Judge Caprio and says something that will change everything. Victoria seemed to be staring at Judge Caprio with anguish and contempt. I don't need to hear from someone who's never built anything, Your Honor. I create chances. I construct houses. I provide income and jobs. You do what? You mark paperwork and are paid by the government every day in this box. You've probably only signed a check, not on the back. Courtroom erupts, but not with noise. Instead, there is a stunned quiet like after a strike. As the bailiff advances, his hand automatically reaches for Victoria. However, he stops. The court reporter speaks. A hall lady gasps loudly, audible in neighboring rooms. Veteran's cap-wearing guy rises up, outraged. Some mumble, "She didn't just say that, but she did." Vicky Ashford told the judge his efforts were wasted. Judge Frank Caprio's expression changes. His special benevolence, which has captivated millions of hearts, vanishes like a switch. Even though his eyes are usually kind, they harden. His jaw drops. He had been sitting calmly with his hands on the bench, but now they are on the edge. He speaks softly, yet his voice fills the chamber with strength. Miss Ashford, your words are measured. Did you tell this court my legal career is irrelevant? Victoria will persevere. Since she's been successful for so long, she doesn't realize how horrible her error was. Honor, we live in separate worlds. Events matter to me. Important to be productive. I can't squander my morning in court for a 5-minute solution. Not personal, simply the reality. Caprio judges. Whoever knows Judge Frank Caprio knows something major will happen when he rises up during a hearing. The room is quiet. Victoria also notices the cooler room. Since it's chilly, the judge's voice didn't alter. You displayed the worst disdain for this court I've witnessed in 38 years on this bench. Before Victoria can respond, a gallery voice says, Your Honor, may I speak? Judge looks to source. A 70-year-old wearing a veteran's cap carries the pride of a hard-working guy. Judge responds, "Yes, sir, name. Robert Chin, yes, U.S. Army, Korea. I must speak as I've lived in Providence for 52 years. Motion to continue by Judge Caprio. His voice shakes, but not because he's weak. He's angry, but in control. I won't stop talking when this woman insults you. Your Honor, I've appeared 3 times in this courtroom. Parking tickets, nothing major. Every time you respected me, you listened. Your honesty. My income was established, and you worked with me." Mr. Chin turns to gaze at Victoria. "Ma'am, you're clueless. Judge Caprio probably benefited more people in this community than your business. He values himself without money. Justice, generosity, and protecting individuals like me from a system we don't understand are at stake. You're selfish if you think money makes you better than him." The hall is filled with fervent applauding, not even polite clapping. Several stand. Someone shouts, "Thank you for saying that." When Judge Caprio raises his hand, the room goes silent, but the mood changes. Victoria looks less confident and is no longer crossed-armed. She stares at the door as if to decide whether to leave. If you believe in court respect, subscribe to Judge Stories YTY now. What happens next will make you believe in justice for all, regardless of wealth. Words from Judge Caprio relieve stress. "Ms. Ashford, you have one chance to apologize to this court." Victoria's pride and self-preservation conflict. She frequently opens and closes her mouth. Then she does something terrible again. "Why should I apologize for honesty? Want respect?" "Your Honor, you deserve it. Judicial behavior doesn't earn it either." "You make how much?" $80,000 a year, $90,000. I use that for weekend getaways. We're different. Another loud courtroom, but Judge Caprio doesn't immediately calm everyone down. He watches Victoria respond negatively. He informs her of community opinion on her remarks. He raises his hand for quiet after his face has changed from angry to cooler and more dangerous. "Choice." Low-voiced Miss Ashford. "Your decision will determine the hearing's next part. I'll carefully review your case. Bailiff, keep Ms. Ashford in court. We'll investigate Victoria Ashford's identity and values." The judge stands up and removes papers from the file. For the first time in years, Victoria Ashford fears her money won't save her. While wearing reading glasses, Judge Caprio carefully reviews each page of the extended file presented by the lawyer. "Ms. Ashford, let's discuss this violation in detail. Traffic camera footage was removed. Bailiff, show it on screen." The screen comes to life and everyone in the hall sees a silver Mercedes speed through a red light. The time is 3:15 p.m. Benefit Street at Hope is in front of Vartan Gregorian Elementary School. The film begins in real time. Cars stop at the light. On the path are kids. Backpacks move. A sidewalk crossing guard wears a bright yellow vest. She posted her stop sign. Red light is obvious. Victoria's Mercedes drives through unimpeded. An elderly man in the crossing jerks backwards and nearly falls. The crossing guard charges forward and grabs his arm to stabilize him. She uses her other arm to stop 2 kids behind him from stepping off the curb. Judge Caprio speaks steadily but rough. "Ms. Ashford, Rebecca Martinez is that crossing guard. She has worked there 12 years. You almost hit 76-year-old Thomas Wu. He was a postal worker. She retracted those 2 kids. She has an 8-year-old daughter and a frail cerebral palsy nephew. In that split second, Mrs. Martinez could have changed our conversation and the case we were in." Victoria keeps her cool despite her pale face. "Your Honor, I couldn't see them. Sunlight was visible. Instantaneous decision. I believed I could pass through light." Judge Caprio replays the video in slow motion. "Ms. Ashford, the light was red for 3 seconds before you crossed. Crossing guard was visible. Her vest is designed for long-range visibility. The kids were there, and the camera showed you going 52 miles per hour in a 25-mile-per-hour school zone." Again, the lawyer stands. "If it's okay, Your Honor, Mrs. Martinez is here today." She awaits conversation. After Judge Caprio nods, a 40-year-old woman stands. She just finished her morning job and is wearing her crossing guard uniform. Respectfully, she approaches the witness stand. She sits with her hands in her lap after being sworn in. "Mrs. Martinez," Judge Caprio's voice softens. "That day, what happened? Please inform the court." Rebecca Martinez inhales deeply. "Judge, I've been a crossing guard for 12 years. That circle of streets feels like home. After school, I posted my stop sign. Mr. Wu crossed the street daily. 3 days a week, he walks his niece home from school. He was visible at the crossing. The light had been red for some time." Her voice grows as she speaks. "I knew the Mercedes wouldn't stop coming at me. If you can read traffic, you can spot a distracted driver, but that driver was distracted. This person saw the truth and didn't care. Mr. Wu was in the crossing when I observed the automobile wasn't stopping. Yelled at him to return. He tried moving, but his knees hurt. He's slow. The car barely missed him. Inches, sir. Her eyes sparkle as she stops. He had my sister and children behind him. Miguel, my nephew, has CP. If I hadn't grabbed and pushed them back, I would have seen kids perish if Mr. Wu had slowed down for 1 second. Last word crushes her voice. It is. No traffic ticket or hassle. An impatient person nearly murdered others. Only a low cry in the back row can be heard in the gallery. Judge Caprio pauses before speaking. Thank you, Mrs. Martinez. We'll remember your words. Victoria's pale face had gone crimson. Miss Ashford heard Mrs. Martinez. What will you say? Victoria struggles to talk. Sorry she was afraid, but nothing awful happened. Everything's fine. Instead of what occurred, consider what may have happened. What didn't happen won't cost me. The crossing guard's touching anecdote doesn't change the reality. I crossed a red light. That breaks rules. Everything else is hearsay and drama. From where do you watch? Leave a comment with your city if you think putting kids in risk should have heavy penalties, since Judge Caprio will conclude Victoria's irresponsibility stretches beyond one crossing. Judge Caprio darkens. Mrs. Martinez's proof indicates how terrible your infraction was, but let's examine your claim that you do so much for the community. It appears you have additional paperwork, prosecutor. The nods and brings another case. Your Honor, I could check public records if Miss Ashford discussed her business. My findings relate to her character in this court's ruling. New folder raises Judge Caprio's eyebrow. Miss Ashford is being sued in 7 cases. 3 former employees claim they were defrauded and worked under unsafe conditions. 4 tenants say they can't live there due to heat, water, and pest issues. Am I right? Victoria eventually loses her cool. These disputes are futile since they involve angry renters and workers seeking payment. My attorneys handle them. No law-breaking here. Judge Caprio slowly shuts the box. Miss Ashford, you informed me in court that you changed the world, opened doors, and are more important than the regulations that control everyone else. These papers disagree. They depict a lady who exploits her employees and renters because she feels her riches shields her. Flips the page. In 18 months, the city's building inspector has handed your residences 17 citations. 3 were red tag directives indicating urgent threats. 12 apartments and 12 smoke alarms in one of your Camden Street apartment complexes failed. Waterman Street has another with visible power cable. You were more than reckless, Miss Ashford. You were dangerous, but now you're instructing me how to help society. Holding the stage, Victoria shakes her hands. The mistakes were corrected, fixed thing. The judge calls out for the first time. After how long? Families were at risk afterward. How long before reports were ignored? You had the resources to make these locations safe, but you prioritized money over people, just like you prioritized your plan over the kids in that crossing. In addition, the prosecution argues, Your Honor, and Miss Ashford's driver's license has 2 lawful suspensions, one for overscoring and another for missing a meeting. Her lawyer acquitted them, but the tendency is evident. She photographs. My lawyer handles these things since I don't have time to stay in court all day. Lawyers can assist. Judge Caprio rises again and speaks authoritatively in court. No, Miss Ashford, lawyers assist, not absolve. It appears that you believe money can shield you from repercussions, that you are exempt from the rules, and that your time is more important than children's lives, workers' respect, or renters' safety. Today, court will prove you incorrect. He takes out his gavel but hasn't struck. Miss Ashford, the school zone red light fee is $500 for the first time. Due to your worsening conditions, including speeding 52 miles per hour in a 25-mile-per-hour zone and almost hitting others, including children, I'm boosting your fine to $2,500, the maximum authorized by law. Victoria's eyes enlarge. Red lights cost $2,500. That's insane. Miss Ashford, I'm not done. Her outcry is stopped by the judge's strong voice. 6 months from now, your license is expired. It will need 80 hours of community work at Hasbro Children's Hospital. You'll discover what happens to youngsters that Mrs. Martinez didn't save. A 40-hour defensive driving course is required. Instead of online, you'll learn from other drivers in person and discover stuff you should have known decades ago. I hold you in contempt of court for your disrespect for this court, your insult to the judicial system, and your indifference to these proceedings. An additional $1,000 in penalty. Today you owe $3,500 plus $450 court expenses. The judge contemplates the statistics. Total cost, $3,950. Victoria's voice is frantic and high. No one can steal my license. I drive for work. How will I get to work? Judge Caprio responds quickly and coldly. Ms. Ashford, like millions of other city residents, you could walk, use public transportation, or rideshare to work every day. Your firm will survive, your employees will manage, and the roads may be safer without you. Unfortunately, Victoria tries again, but she is entirely broken. I'll appeal. Way too much. It's brutal. That's unfair. Judge Caprio gazes into her eyes. Ms. Ashford, this is justice. Finally, hearing no is justice. When finally someone takes you accountable for seeing others as issues, you walked into court believing your money made you unique. He continues, softening but stern, you're leaving it knowing that in the eyes of the law, you are no different from anyone else. Ms. Ashford, I'll explain my job. It's my responsibility to make your bank account, houses, and important claims irrelevant for a few hours every day in this place. You just endangered others and disregarded the safety system. Here, you're only responsible for her decisions. I do that. And we do it because if we don't, folks like those crossing youngsters won't be protected from you. Through the silence, the gavel falls. Victoria is motionless, looking astonished, indignant, and possibly understanding. The election approaches. Ms. Ashford, return your license to the clerk before leaving today. You cannot drive for 6 months starting immediately. Breaking this order will result in criminal consequences. Judge Caprio waves goodbye as Victoria leaves in high heels. I hope Ms. Ashford uses these 6 months well. I hope you gaze at injured kids' faces at the hospital and try to realize what you almost did. Your bus or rail ride should include folks whose lives you've never considered. I hope you are not the same when you return to prove your community work and driving course achievement. Victoria doesn't reply. Though she had little regard, she leaves court with it. People watch her depart, and they clap when the door closes. Judge Caprio won't quit. At Mrs. Martinez, who wipes her eyes with her palm, and Mr. Chin, whose hand shakes, he nods. If this reminded you that genuine justice doesn't care about money and that courts are the only place where character counts more than money, subscribe to Judge Stories YTY. Judge Frank Caprio again proved that no one can purchase respect, that arrogance has consequences, and that the law protects everyone, particularly the arrogant. Privilege and ultimate fairness produce this. If someone eventually refuses the rich and powerful, this will happen. This is Victoria Ashford's tale. It proves that money can't hide the truth in Judge Caprio's or any impartial courtroom. Please like if you believe our legal system should treat everyone equally. Remember that a judge can educate you the rules if you feel they don't apply to you. Enjoy your time and God bless.